Hello all and welcome to another pickups video, and here's everything I picked up since the last numbered pickups video. Now these videos are normally an accumulation of stuff I've picked up over a 2 to 3 week period. However, this one's a little different. It's all from one day out. Yes, what I normally do is when my 2 days off work roll around, I will go to one town, and then when the next 2 days off roll around after those, I will go to the other town, and basically I alternate until the end of time, or at least that is the theory. However, because I'd missed a week, I did think that I would play a little bit of catch up and I would go to both towns in one day, and it proved to be a fun day out. It proved to be a rather successful day out, so let's crack on with showing you what I got. So I decided to make my first port of call Harlow Town. Now on my way to Harlow Town, where you have all the superstores, there is a couple of sort of charity shop superstores amongst those as well. They are rather big, however they don't normally turn up an awful lot, but this time was an exception. They both turned up a little handful of games for me from each. Now the first one turned up 4, and this one normally is just full of generic sports titles. However, they had a little bit more for me to dig through, and amongst those games was indeed this copy here of Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. But as if by magic, I didn't just pick up one copy of this game, I picked up 2. However, this first copy doesn't have a manual, but this second copy does. But I had my phone out whilst I was in there, and a lot of the time I was looking for CEX trading fodder. These both will be traded in, and they only cost me 50p each, as did all 4 games in there. And as you'll see up here, the trading value for this one is £3, and they will actually sell it to you for 8. So it's a good game to find for 50p, this one. So yes, we have 2 copies of Crash: The Wrath of Cortex. Now the next game I picked up, the next different game I picked up from there, same fella, here he is, Crash, but this time it's Crash Twinsanity. This is for CEX trading fodder as well. As I say, it cost me 50p, all 4 games in there did. However, this one's trading value is £2, despite the fact they will still sell it to you for 8. So don't know why that is. That just seems a little bit off when it's the same guy as well and the same sale value. But it's a nice copy of the game. It's complete in there with manual as well. So it's a decent game for decent money, especially when you're only paying 50p for it. So yes, I will flip that for a little bit of CEX trading fodder. Now they do have a sea of generic sports titles in there, but if you know what you're looking for, you can make a little bit of money out of them still. And I picked up a copy of FIFA 12 for the PlayStation 2. So 4 PlayStation 2 games I got from there. And FIFA 12 is the third to last game in the FIFA series on the PlayStation 2. The last one was 14. However, this one, for 50p, still has a trading value, as you'll see up here, of £1.40. And they will actually sell it to you for £4 as well. Complete box of manual. So it's just going to be flipped for a little bit of trade value, a bit of trade profit for me there. I always think that if you can double your money, even if it's just a cheap little game, then it's always worth picking up. So a little bit more towards the PlayStation 3 fund and my CEX trade credit. So that was all from that big superstore charity shop, as I called it. And the next one, which really actually turns up nothing a lot of the time, in fact nearly all the time, had a bunch of PlayStation 3 games in basically, and they were all in fantastic, almost looking like new condition as well. Anyway, the first one I picked up was Wipeout Fury. Now, I loved the Wipeout games on the PlayStation 1, so even though I'd done my research while I was in there and probably picked it up as intention of it being CEX trading volume and flipping it for a bit of credit, because this one is, as you'll see, I paid £2 for it, but it has a trading value of £4, and its sale price is actually £8. So for £2, that's a nice little saving. And because I'm getting a PS3 and don't actually own any PS3 games to keep in my collection, I'm actually going to hold on to this one. And it is in fantastic condition. I've had the disc out, and it's like it's never been played. It's absolutely in mint condition. The manual, again, looks like it's fresh off the print. And nice little, it has inlay design on it, this one as well. So because I love me a bit of Wipeout, I want this, I want to keep this. So this one's now actually going to stay in the collection, and it only cost me £2. Now the next one was also meant to be flipped for a bit of CEX trading credits and CEX trade fodder. However, I'm having a slight change of heart on this one as well, just because I'm going to be honest with you, because I'm an Xbox owner and primarily Xbox throughout my gaming over the last few years. I have never touched a God of War game because I just haven't had a PlayStation. So now that I'm going to get one and I know how good these are, I actually really want to play this. So there's a good chance that I bought this to gain some CX credit with, but I'm actually probably going to keep it now. But anyway, it's a fantastic, again, copy of the game. They all were the PS3 bundle that they'd obviously clearly had in recently. The disc is practically mint, or no, the disc is mint. It's like it's never been played. Another fresh off the print manual. This one also has a nice little bit of inlay design on it as well, and it's just a fantastic little pickup for only £2. So yes, I have now decided here live on camera that I'm actually going to keep this and play both of these. However, will I keep it beyond playing both of these? Perhaps not, I don't know, but I'm definitely going to have a little go of these now. And the last game I picked up from that charity shop is definitely going to be Flip for Credit. In fact, I nearly didn't pick it up because, as you'll see here, this one, the trading value on this is only £1 above what I paid for. I nearly left it behind because I generally, as a rule, I like to double my money, but I thought, you know what, another £1 towards the PlayStation 3 fund is a little bit worth it, and I will pick it up in the end. Do own this on the 360. It's going to be another reason why I'm not going to be keeping it. However, I do highly recommend this game, by the way, if you've never played it. It's a real fast, action-packed game. It's a bit like Mario Kart, real cars, basically. But as you'll see, it's another superb, minty quality pickup. And again, the disc unscratched. Whoever donated all these games have really looked after their stuff. I mean, look at that. Again, another fresh off the print manual and an absolutely fantastic pickup. So yes, just a little bit of trading profit there to be had. So I just thought that was worth it. And ladies and gentlemen, that was it from the visit to the superstores, or the charity shop superstores within Harlow Town. And then obviously I made my way onto Harlow Town Centre. Now, the first place I went to, which is, I mixed up my order a little bit because I normally kind of have this set pattern just kind of by muscle memory and kind of by accident. But I mixed it up a little bit, and the first place I went to that day was Cash Converters, and I picked up a game I've wanted for ages, and that is Splatterhouse. I've always been jealous of anybody that's had this just because they've had it and I've really wanted it. And yes, absolutely, when I saw this there, I thought I'm going to have that if it's at a decent price, and they had it up at £4, which is actually £1 below what CEX will sell it for. So pleased to have picked this up for £4, as I've really wanted it for so long as well. Now the thing about this, and this is one of the pieces that I absolutely love from this pickups, the real interesting thing about this for me was the red case. Now, I started to wonder if it was original, and the only thing I really have to go by, and as you'll see by the way, it is a fantastically mint in box copy with manual, and the disc is very, very unscratched as well. The only thing I really had to go by is if it was genuine or not, and if I can zoom in enough, you'll see there's this branding on the inside of the case. Now, a lot of the 360 cases have that branding as well with regards to the green ones. So this is a genuine 360 case, I believe. They don't all have it, but a lot of them do that I found. So I just have never seen an Xbox 360 game in a red case, so I was absolutely fascinated by that. And being a horror game and having read on the cover as well, I think it looks really neat like this. So even if it isn't genuine, I would keep it like this, but I do believe it is. But what I want to hear from the comment section below is, because I have done some research, I cannot find an image of another 360 game in a red case at all. So do you have one? Do they exist? Have you seen them? And the other thing is I had in mind is perhaps it's part of a collector's edition and becomes separated from it, and that's why it's a red case. Don't know, just surmising. Have no idea. But I am absolutely pleased to have Splatterhouse in the collection. I used to play the arcade games back in the day, which were 2D side-scrollers, and they were a hell of a lot of fun. So yes, I am looking forward to playing this much latter day iteration of the game, and very pleased to finally have Splatterhouse in the collection. So from there, I did hit a load of charity shops, but the charity shops in the Harlow Town Centre didn't turn up anything. But I did do my old faithful visit to CEX, as I always do. And to my pleasant surprise indeed, the retro game section in the glass cabinet had a load of cartridge games, and they were all for the handheld, and most of them were for the Game Gear. And I have an absolute love and passion for the Game Gear, so I was really pleased to see it. So did I leave with a couple? Of course I did. But however, also on the front row, there was the odd few Game Boy titles, and I did leave with one Game Boy game. And that is basically because if you have a Game Boy game that I do not own, cartridge only, for 50p, I'm going to pick it up. So there's probably nothing special about it. It's probably all of its value. Nintendo World Cup I have picked up. Now, funnily enough, when I went to the London Gaming Market recently, despite how common the game was, there was nothing really cheaper car only than £2. So to pick this up for 50p to me is a little bit of a deal, actually. So yep, 50p for a Game Boy game for me is never going to be sniffed at if I don't own it. And to be honest with you, even if I do own it, I will probably pick it up because there might be somebody who wants it. So yes, I picked up a Game Boy game in Nintendo World Cup. And then I left with a couple of Game Gear games as well. So the first one that I left with is Columns. And bearing in mind I had one of these as a very young boy from a very young age. Let's see if I can just flip this open. I never actually owned a physical copy of Columns. I used to borrow it off mates all the time. I mean, it's a fantastic, iconic puzzle game, isn't it? So when I saw this in the cabinet for only 50p as well, I did spy an out of plastic case copy before I noticed there was one for the same price in a plastic case for only 50 pence. I had to have it. I had to have it in the collection. I was going to say, it's a very common game, but a very fun puzzle game too. So I really did have to have it. So I did have it. 50p is nothing. It's not to be sniffed at if you don't own it. So yes, I did pick up Columns for the Game Gear. And the only other Game Gear game I decided to pick up that day was Land of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. So let's see if I can just pop that open as well. Yes, Land of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. And this one I think was only £2.50. So it was a little bit more, but that is still really cheap for a Game Gear cartridge. You could pick up a lot of quality Game Gear games for nothing at all, it would seem. I mean, there was a sea of them. I could left with a few more, but I decided to limit myself that day, and then hopefully they'll still be there when I go back again in a week or so's time, and I might pick up another one or two, because I do want a full set of games for the Game Gear, because I love it. That is another set I'm going to be actively collecting for. I mean, I would love to have them all boxed, but space and finding Game Gear game box is difficult. But to have Land of Illusion for only £2.50, well pleased with that. If it's anything like Castle of Illusion, which is an absolute cracking little game which I already own, then this is going to be a lot of fun too. So yes, Land of Illusion for not a lot of money at all. Did leave with a couple of Xbox 360 games as well, so because I did have a good go through those. And the first one I decided to go for was Summer Athletics 2009. And that's basically, there is a series of summer and winter athletic games just called Summer and Winter Athletics. Obviously date for the year that they were released. And they're not as common as other sports titles. They are a little bit more obscure. So when I saw this, just one copy of the summer games sitting on the shelf, there were none of the winter ones, I thought for £1.50 I will nab that. And I think I've left my receipt in here. Yes, I have. I knew that was there. It's, again, I also do check for manuals in them. If they don't have manuals, I actually ask at the counter now, and if they don't have it, I will put them back. So yes, complete in box with manual and the disc. As I say, I always check discs now before I leave CEX, because I have had issues with the odd one or two in the past. Not very often, but just the odd one or two. So I like to be safe and sorry, and not have to make a return journey ASAP. So yes, picked up a copy of Summer Athletics for £1.50. Now the next one is basically admitting to having a little bit of a problem. Now the next one is buying a game I already own, and that is Sonic Generations. And yes, I did pay £7 for it. Now I saw this cover and I absolutely loved it. I just think it's fantastic. Look at that. I do love a slipcase. I do like the lenticular ones in particular. Now I actually own Sonic Generations. It was one of those games that I bought not long after launch because I love Sonic, but obviously mine only comes like this. So I took it to the counter and I said, is there any chance that I tried a trick that my buddy from Roller Court, Eddie, did. And I took it to the counter and said, is there any chance I can just have this slipcase? And you could price your game up. And they weren't having it, Eddie. I know you got lucky, but they weren't having it for me. They said, sorry, sir, I'm not able to do that. So then what I decided to do is basically spend £3 on buying a slipcase. Yes, the game is £7, but it has a trading value of £4. But I really wanted that slipcase, so I basically paid £3 for a slipcase. So I'm going to be trading this in. Literally about a week later, I have now built up enough pile to take a pile of stuff into CX for trade in value. So that is indeed the last item from Harlow Town, and from there it was back to the car and straight across to Bishop Stortford and hit all the charity shops there first. So yes, I did indeed hit all the charity shops before I went anywhere else, just before I went to CX there. And the first thing that was to turn up in those charity shops from my favourite charity shop, which was doing 2 for 50p, has now decided that the games are 50p each. So I'm not going to lie to you there. That deal has now kind of expired, or they've just cottoned on to the fact that games shouldn't be considered DVDs and not call it mixed media deal anymore. But anyway, enough of going on about that. I then picked this up for trading value. It does have a little bit of trading value. As I say, for 50p, I always think if you can double your money minimum, then I will pick it up. And I do believe that this has a £1.20 trading value, and it's sold for £4. So it does have a little bit to it. And I just think for 50p, I will flip this for a little bit of CEX credit. And no manual, but the UMD's in there, and obviously CEX really don't always care about manuals nowadays. So yes, just a little PSP game in FIFA Street 2. So yes, it's a sports title, but it's a bit less generic than just your FIFA with a year after it. And Mr. Cristiano Ronaldo on there as well, so showing off his skills. But yes, yeah, nice little piece to be honest with you, and just a little bit of credit to be had. So the next game I picked up was not a particularly rare title. I think at CEX sell it for £1. I'm not sure, but you have got to pick up these common titles, these cheap titles at some point if you're going for the full set, and I didn't own it, and this was an extremely nice copy of the game. Check the disc, and the disc is in absolutely scratch-free condition, but it's just got this extra piece of cardboard in here, which I would imagine is missing from a lot of them, this quick start guide here. So yes, very pleased with that to turn up. Manual in there, which is in fantastic condition as well. It's not been attacked by gaming at some point in its life and had a sticker thrown on the front, which we all know happens quite a bit. But yes, just a nice copy of Tom Clancy's End War, and just another one in the collection that I don't own. Now the next one is just a fine example of if you're going for a full set, you need to buy everything. And here I am buying a Kids Connect game because of the condition it was in and the fact you've got to get them all at some point. I'm trying to justify this here as much as I can. But they had a Connect game that I don't see around a lot actually, and that is Sesame Street. And I believe it's Season 1 as well. But it's a 2-disc game. So when I opened it up, both discs were in there and in fantastic condition. Like that. It's got this card in it. I don't know if it's meant to have a manual, but it's got this card in it at least. And yes, it's just a case of you've got to buy it at some point. So when a nice copy turns up for 50p for not a lot of money at all, I'm going to pick it up. It's now in the collection. It's now one ticked off the extensive list. And to be honest with you, when I finally get a Connect, that's the fun. And the other funny thing about it is I've got a bunch of Connect games and I don't even have a Connect. When I finally get the room to have a Connect, I will buy a Connect sensor. And do you know what? I'm even going to play it. I'm going to give it a bash. It's got a gamer score, so at the end of the day, I'll play anything for gamer score, and I'll try anything anyway. So yes, still trying to justify me buying Sesame Street. So yes, I know what you go through, Mr. Retro Bear. But anyway, that was it from that particular charity shop. Now the next piece is one of my favourite pickups from the day. Absolutely love this piece. And the funny thing about it is when I was in this particular charity shop, it wasn't on the shelf, and a lad was bringing out a load of DVDs and popping them on. And then all of a sudden he just came out of nowhere and popped this on the shelf as well. It's like, oh, that's a steelbook. I'm having that. And what did I pick up? And it was a copy of Area 51 on the PlayStation 2, but in a steelbook. Now they're DVDs, and it was within a DVD section, was priced up at 50p each or 3 for £1. Couldn't for the life of me find at least one more game that I wanted. They were all very generic, very old, or just not in great condition. I did say to him, is this also 50p then? And he went, yeah. So I was like, oh, right, fantastic. You're going to count it as a DVD, but the last charity shop didn't. But yes, complete in box with manual and a disc that is in fantastic condition. And to be honest with you, it's a nice piece, so it's not going to be sold on or traded in, despite the fact it does have a trading value, bit of profit for me if I did want to, for £1.90 trading. But they also sell it for £6, so it's not even a cheap title at CEX, so it's a fantastic find. But my two favourite genres in films, and one of my favourite genres in gaming as well, is paranormal and horror, and this obviously comes under both, and just really pleased to have this in my collection. And to be honest, the steelbook as well is in decent nick too. So that was all I picked up from that charity shop. I did go to one more charity shop before I left and find something, and again this was just a case of buckling and buying a common title, which I finally have, which I keep thinking is going to turn up in a bundle and hasn't, and now, boy, it'll probably turn up in every bundle that I ever pick up. But I would say if you don't own something common and a good quality copy turns up for not a lot of money at all, as you'll see on the back, there it is. Yes, it was only 50p, but it's just a really minty disc with this extra card in here, calibration card, which is obviously probably missing from a load, and a really, again, fresh off the print kind of manual in there as well. So just because I don't own Connect Adventures, as common as it is, I just thought it was worth picking up finally. because of the condition it is, as you'll see up here, it's worth no trading value. They will only give you a penny trading, they'll only give you a penny cash, and they only sell it for 50p. And this one literally is just everywhere. But we did finish off the day in CEX and pick up a couple of pieces from them. And the first one is just a game that is recommended despite not being expensive. A lot of people say nice things about Brutal Legend. It still could have been more apparently, but for what it is as well, it is still a decent title. I haven't played it. It was just one of those games that I knew was cheap, that I was going to pick up once upon a time when it eventually did turn up, and it has eventually turned up. It has been attacked by game and has a sticker on its manual, but the disc, again, I checked before I leave, was in good condition. The manual, despite that sticker, is in excellent condition as well. And again, I just thought that finally I would pick up Brutal Legend for not a lot of money at all. And I was really struggling to find something else, and I thought, oh, that's going to be it. And then I glanced at the Superbike games, and yes, sports titles aren't a lot and aren't that rare. But I decided, just because I didn't have a Superbike game, that I would pick one up. So I picked up the latest version that they had in stock, which was 2011, and it indeed comes with manual and an extra card there. Disc, again, is in fantastic quality. Thank you, CEX. And I just thought to myself, I really want a Superbike game, so I'm going to pick that up. And I did. So, yes, a couple of purchases from CEX, 2 games for £3. And, yeah, pleased with those. So, favourite games from the pickup, I'm just going to throw those back in there. Obviously Splatterhouse and this copy of Area 51. Absolutely, really pleased with those. Absolutely over the moon with those. Love the fact that I have these now in my collection, especially Splatterhouse. That was one I was always looking out for. So ladies and gentlemen, all I want to know is in the comment section below now is fill it out with stuff like if you played stuff, where I got the real deals and things like that. So yes, please fill out the comment section below. And actually I do just want to give one very quick little shout out, and that is to a new mate of mine. He's only 8 years old. He's the son of a good friend of mine as well, and that's the young Dylan Carr, who's apparently become a little bit of a supporter and a fan of the channel. So thanks, mate. It was really real pleasure to meet you the other day as well. He does actually have his own little YouTube channel as well, and actually wants to have a go at YouTubing himself. So when he gets older, hopefully, you never know, he might grow into doing the stuff that we're doing nowadays. But yes, so thanks, Dylan, for being a subscriber to the channel. And it's always a pleasure to have you watching. So anyway, let's go back to asking you for comments on the games. Anything I picked up as a deal, please laugh at me for picking up Sesame Street and things like that. I don't mind. I'll have a bit of banter with you. But if you do indeed like this video, then please hit a like. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And if you are, hit that bell, and that'll drop you a little notification every time I upload a brand new video. And ladies and gentlemen, that just leaves me to say thank you for watching. And then, of course, finally, as always, take care.